Okay, so I'm here with James today, and we're discussing video marketing. James has a background in branding online before he was ever a mortgage broker, and he has lots of mortgage broker experience, and he's a great mortgage broker. But he's actually here to discuss what I do, or what we do in terms of social media, sort of branding with video production and that kind of thing regarding his business and what he feels the future is. So James, go ahead.
So just like you might need a strategy for a mortgage, I'm going to Andrew for a strategy on video. He is the video expert, hands down. I've known him for many years, at least, what has it been, about 10 years now? 15?
Yeah.
It's been 15 years.
Yeah, I think it's been about 15
Can't
years.
believe how old you look.
I know, geez, we're all getting old. I had brown hair when we started.
Oh, I'm still...
And our kids were little. Now they're all big in university, and my kids just got a house. Yeah. What is going on? Jesus, we're getting old. Okay.
Yeah, we're both getting old.
Oh, Jesus.
But
we're better looking.
You know what? We are better looking.
Yeah.
You know? Anyways, so I'm turning to Andrew for his expertise in the video world, because as I've gotten deeper into what I do, I think there's a better way to share it than an email or a cold text or even a phone call, which is hard to take sometimes because life is just a little bit too busy. And on that phone call, how life goes, it just, you're probably multitasking at the same time as you're on a phone call. But when we meet on video, when we actually set up a formal video meeting, just you and me, I'm able to share my screen. I'm actually able to put things out to you full scope in a much more structured, planned way to help you with your mortgage goals. So with video, I think it helps me a lot to connect with my customers, to build the trust that I need, and to really get the clarity that the customer needs.
Yeah, it also story always sells. In other words, good stories sell. Wouldn't you think? What do you think of story? Like, in other words, you have to explain things in the context of, I know a guy that, and so forth. I think video is really good for that. What do you think about that, like in terms of story?
Yeah, I think story can be very powerful. But probably one of the tips that Andrew would probably mention is don't make it some big novel either, right? Mm-hmm. Hit the main points, get to what you're talking about, make your impact on your market, and use your own voice. Yeah. It doesn't need to be scripted.
It doesn't need to be scripted. It also needs to be consistent, though.
Yeah.
I'll say the big thing I've learned with small businesses and people doing their own thing is the consistency. And I've seen very successful people do their own content and be successful with their own content, providing they're consistent. One of the things that we have was The Wheel, which is we make consistent content throughout the year and develop. We also develop, like I said, we have pictures and all kinds of other stuff that goes with that content. So you have to constantly deliver online to the message. My feeling too is, you want to educate. You're either going to story in terms of inspire, or you're going to educate. And I would say generally, when you say, James, you're more on the education end, or in your videos, what do you think?
I like the storytelling aspect to create the impact, right? Mm-hmm. Because the market doesn't know what it doesn't know. But if I'm an expert, then I need to sort of be unleashed. And video is really the way to do it, to be front and center in front of someone, to really get that message across to them so that they can not only understand, but trust the source of where it comes from.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's what about using others, like in terms of your distribution of content? What would you mainly distribute for your business? Whereabouts would you distribute your stuff? Would it be on YouTube? Would it be on LinkedIn? Like, where would you go?
I'd say my primary channels would be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Okay, and why would you be Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, say, over YouTube or LinkedIn or one of these other ones?
Well, at least currently, most of my videos are between 30 and 45 seconds. Maybe they run over a minute every now and then on something a little bit deeper, but that's because I'm storytelling. Mm-hmm. So I find that those channels are the ones to hit. I don't really have a lot of long-form content. I don't know that anyone would be interested. I know that I wouldn't even be interested in watching long-form content on YouTube for what a mortgage broker might have to say.
Even though, having said that, I think maybe if you were looking at a situation with a young guy trying to buy a house, not understanding how to get a decent credit rating, he might sit through, 5 minutes of you talking about it. Wouldn't he find, or what would you?
It really would depend, right? Some stories might take a little bit more undigging and build up, but I like to have my my content quick and easy to understand, point driven home. Why waste time? Right?
Yeah. Why waste time? So basically, for your business, you like short form content. One we're finding in the industry is short form is good for getting someone's attention, but actually long form is good for getting information. So you can the two animals. Oh shoot, this is just a second. I don't want to turn the camera.
That's okay.
Hey Daz, can I call you back in like 2 minutes?
Oh, absolutely. Call the business line.
Okay, will do. Take care, Daz. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Client. Anyways, it's literally right in the interview. Okay, so so we find in our business, like what I find anyways, is that short form is great for advertising for long form. Long form has more information. A lot of people think actually what you just said, James, which is, nobody cares. If they want to really be educated, in my experience, they will sit through what they need to sit through to get the information out. In other words, they want to learn how to do something, they got to sit through it. They can't learn it in 30 seconds. You have to learn it in 20 minutes. It might be longer. Long form, we're almost done here. Long form is better for education. Short form is good for advertising. What do you think about that? Would you agree with that, or am I on the right?
Oh yeah, there's absolutely no doubt about it. If you can be a little bit cheeky and edgy and cause a few eyebrows to pull up and be impactful and show a meaningful some meaningful content, then you're going to get some engagement there.
Yeah. Another thing I find, James, is that we're dealing with clients in a profession. Like you're a professional mortgage broker. I'm a professional, marketing guy / storyteller. And I find that when they need my services, they don't need them forever. They need them for a moment. And they want to find out what I can do. And then they finish with what I can do. And then they go and do something else. In other words, they don't watch my content on a regular basis. But if they're in the middle of making the decision to buy content or to use my services, then they'll check out what it is that I'm doing, which gives what I call the wheel aspect, which means you can answer a question today for a client, shall we say a young guy trying to buy a house, and you mentioning about the credit card and establishing your credit rating, not going over your limit for the period of 2 years. That applies to that young fella getting a mortgage from you this year, but it might apply to a young woman or 20 other people moving forward with the same question many, many years later, because it's the same answer to the same question. And I find that you can regurgitate some of these things quite regularly, which is what I'm hoping actually to do with you. But I'm just going to loop around here. But, in a nutshell, it's worth it. And just, if you want to say something nice about me now, James, you can go right ahead. I think you already did, but maybe mention that and then we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, and I think having Andrew on my side as the professional that he is, the storyteller that he is, the skills that he has in video editing and putting the right mood into the video with the music, and obviously directing me as an actor, if you want to call me an actor. I certainly don't look like one. Has really helped me, garner a lot of confidence to be able to come to a point where, maybe it's the same thing that we're saying, but if we can say it in a different way, someone else is going to hear it in a different way, be impacted in a different way, and take action in a different way. And they're their own customer. And once you realize that, then the power of video can be really effective as you learn different ways and techniques of coming across, bringing your message to your market in different ways. Just like Andrew tells us. I lost my words there.
Yeah, and if you're a mortgage broker or a real estate agent or anything like that, it's very helpful. Say something along those lines. Mention your career, mention your job.
Yeah, I mean, so restart that whole thing?
Just go with whatever, because I'm going to cut it a little bit, but not much. Just roll with what you can come up with, because I'm going to shut it off.
Oh, okay. So, in the mortgage brokering world, I mean, there's two ways to go about it. You can fight in this competitive market in what we call the red waters, or you can turn to something a little more bluish, and do something that other people aren't doing. And I believe that there's a lot of mortgage brokers that work with realtors like myself, but they don't really go much further than that. They just kind of, they don't feel the need to really brand themselves. They're more of a quieter bunch. But I'm a different kind of mortgage broker, right? I mean, I have internet marketing behind me. I like to be on camera. I like to get my message out. I like to be passionate and help people with their finances. So I guess that's kind of why I've chosen the video route, because I think it's a more impactful way than, say, opening up an email or a text message or even a phone call.
Of course, all those things can have video in it, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Thanks, James. Well, we'll catch you later. We'll catch you on the next one. Take
Okay.
care. Bye-bye.
Yeah.